This Monday, we're going to continue our study on the church that you read about in the Bible. As a matter of fact, what we're doing is we're trying to look at the ideal that's revealed within the pages of the Bible. Last week, we looked at the interconnectedness of the grace of God and the church, which belongs to Jesus Christ. The church is a result of God's graciousness. This coming week, we're going to be talking about the fact that many people have a flawed view of the church. We look at the church through our human perspective, and it's messed up. I mentioned to you last week the idea, Philip Yancey wrote a book called The Jesus I Never Knew. And he talked about how at one time he had a very immature, very flawed view of Jesus, but as he began to study and he looked at the Jesus of the Bible, it was very different than the view he had earlier in life. And I think it's that way with the church. People have a very immature, and I don't mean that in an insulting way, but they have a flawed view of the church. And if we look at the church that we read about in the Bible, we find God's perfect ideal. Now, are we going to find the ideal here on earth? Of course not. If you come to where I worship and where I preach, are you going to find that? No, because I'm there. And I'm a flawed human being. But I'm in a quest. And I'm surrounded by people who are in a quest to be the ideal church that we read about in the Bible. And we're heavily dependent upon the graciousness of God, and we're heavily dependent upon the graciousness that we extend to one another. And we realize we're all flawed, and we're working to become the ideal church that we find in the Bible. And the reality is we know that we can surrender to Jesus Christ, we can be submissive to His will, and we can be obedient to Him. That's what it means to surrender and be submissive. And we can be part of the one body that we read about in the pages of the New Testament, the church which belongs to Jesus, the church of Christ. We want you to know about that church, not the church that I originated, but the church that originated in the mind of God and is revealed within the pages of the Bible. Join us this coming week for these studies. You can find the studies on Your.Daily 180 on Facebook or on YouTube at Your.Daily 180. Join us. You'll enjoy it.